Synthaholics.
Welcome to Synthaholics. Thank you so much for downloading this episode. Today you have myself, Aaron O'Brien, and David Duncan. What's up, Dave?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Dave, we are back in Discovery territory once again, and we are talking about Star Trek Discovery episode called Scavengers. This is Season 3, Episode 6, and first aired November 19th, 2020. Non-spoilers, Dave? Anything you want to say about this?
So, it's funny. You know the Star Trek movies, everyone's like, oh, the even-numbered ones are the good ones, all the odd-numbered ones are the bad ones.
Yeah.
So far, that has rung true for this season of Star Trek Discovery. I've enjoyed the even...
You liked 4, and you liked...
Yeah, I liked 2, because Michael Burnham wasn't in it, except for the very end. I liked 4, because it was mostly... Michael Burnham was in it, but we had the Trill stuff, and that was interesting. None of it made me mad, so I enjoyed episode 4 a lot.
Right.
And then this episode, I was totally not looking forward to it last week, but this episode was at least it was a lot of dumb fun. And oh my god, the production values on this show are still never ceasing to amaze me. Like it's literally a movie. I mean, I wish Picard got half the budget that this show got.
I know. It's so crazy.
This one episode's got better special effects than anything in Picard. Like by a long shot. And it's just this episode.
The only thing that Picard had was cool was the Borg cube scenes. That was like the coolest scenes. Everything else was sort of like
Yeah, I mean the Borg cube scenes were pretty cool, but I mean this episode had a couple like really it was all like bunched together, but they had a couple really standout VFX shots, and I was just like floored of the production value on this show. And Picard, we're gonna give you a copy paste Romulan fleet and a copy and paste Federation fleet, and this we got all sorts of different like broken ships in the air and all sorts of crazy stuff, and it was visually impressive. It was a lot of dumb fun. So I definitely enjoyed this episode a lot more than the previous episode, and all the odd numbered episodes. So far, this is definitely an even numbered episode, being better than the odd ones, in my opinion. How about you? What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it incredibly. I don't know if we talked off before we started recording, but I kind of had low expectations of this episode as well, and I pleasantly enjoyed it, and I have some issues with certain things about it, but it has nothing to do it's more to do with how they wrote the characters and stuff like that, and what they did. But that's that. But everything else was, entertaining.
Yeah, it was an entertaining hour of television, which is a step ahead of where we've been.
All right, well, let's get into full spoilers, Dave. So we start off here with back at Federation headquarters, and Captain Saru's there with Admiral Vance, and they are going over basically all the tasks the fleet has to go through. They're having just basically a big meeting.
But before the meeting, the ship has been updated. It's got new armor.
Right.
It is now the 1031A USS Discovery. It's got the detachable nacelles, which I don't know why you want detachable nacelles. I know they say it makes it more maneuverable, but I'm like, why?
I don't understand that either. It makes a warp bubble around yours. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I guess it could augment Voyager's, because Voyager had the tilty nacelles, but no other ship had the tilty nacelles.
I don't get what detachable nacelles do for a ship. I just don't understand it.
He says it makes it more maneuverable. I don't know.
I know. I remember, but to me, it just still doesn't make any logical sense. If you're warping space around your ship, why do you need your ship to be more maneuverable?
I don't know.
Maybe extend the bubble around you?
I don't know. I wish we got a better look at Discovery. I couldn't tell if the nacelles were still as stupidly long as they had been, or if they teched
look
them up and made them more
insane.
squat.
And it's just one of those things that, the programmable matter and stuff like that. It's cool, but I don't know if I'd want to like stake my life on it.
Yeah, I know. And like, it's just such a funny thing that like technically programmable matter is something we'll probably run into in maybe not in our lifetime, but I think programmable matter is more likely for us to get invented before we get tangible holograms.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just saying.
With nanotechnology, yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're already working on nanotech, and we have some nanotech. I mean, like, it's only a matter of time before we have actual programmable matter. But tangible holograms with like force fields and stuff like that, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah. So yeah, we got the upgrade of Discovery, but like I said, they're having the big meeting between all these different ships that the admiral's kind of giving orders to, and at some point, Saru's like, I could do some of these for you. I can just jump to it and take care of it. And he was like, no, I need you here on the ready because we have this planet that's on yellow alert for a potential threat to the Emerald Chain, which is the
Orion Andorian Syndicate.
Yeah. So, and it's something could be happening in 12 hours. We just need you to be ready to get there if you really quickly if you have to.
So they upgraded the Discovery. Why haven't they been duplicating the spore drive technology?
I don't know. And secondly, I mean, I guess they have to like get the mycelium network inside their ships, and then they have to actually splice somebody's genes with the tardigrade genes.
Well, just like, splice it with Stamets' genes, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone, you're going to be a little bit, albino.
Yeah, I know. So on Discovery, then we get that they've been upgraded to their comm badges, which is pretty cool. Works as not just, their little badges don't act just as comm badges, but as tricorders, holo pads, and you can, transport with them as well. So
I'm so glad the pad is built into the comm badge and it's a hologram, and we're not going to see them with like stacks and stacks of pads on their desk anymore. I'm like, this
is a really cool idea. This is actually, the programmable matter and the comm badge, or not even comm badge. I don't even know what you want to call them anymore. They're the everything
utility badge.
Utility badge. This is probably some cool, very forward thinking.
It's probably got some bat anti-shark spray built into it too, just in case.
That'd be nice. So, and the running joke through this whole thing that Linus keeps beaming all over all over the ship.
And it does follow the rule of threes. It happens 3 times this episode.
Right. So then out of nowhere, they get a call and they get Book's ship coming in, and they find just the giant cat Grudge there on the ship and not Book. And there's a message there left, and he says that he's found one of these little black boxes that Michael's been looking for, apparently, which, did she mention this before?
No.
I don't remember it either, so
she's not.
Glad.
This is the first time black box has been mentioned this season, as far as I'm aware.
So the idea of the black box is that if she could figure out, her theory is that the burn didn't happen all at once. It happened.
It radiated out from a specific point in space.
Right. So if she can figure out where the ships were in these black boxes, then she can kind of like figure out where maybe this thing originated from.
So does this, if it's originating from a single point in space, could that mean it's a omega particle issue again? I mean, like it could be pulling from that again. Like before, I was starting to dismiss it. Now it's like, well, maybe it's a thing. I mean, it'll probably be something else, but that it has an origin.
Right.
Is interesting.
And so we find out that this black box is with Book on this planet that's controlled by the Emerald Chain. And Book said he went to look for it, but then if within 24 hours, if Grudge came to Discovery with the Book ship, then we know something happened to him. So Michael Burnham wants to go and help her friend Book, and so she says to Saru, "This is what I need to do. I need to go help Book, and I need to get this black box." And Saru goes, "No, we're on ready to help out this planet in case anything happens with the Emerald Chain, and that's basically we can't go running off and doing something else." So Michael then all decides that she's just going to go and do it anyways, and she recruits Commander Georgiou as the person to help her with this unsanctioned mission.
Well, who else would she go to?
Right.
Who else is going to readily just break the rules?
So yeah, again, Michael just not. I mean, they ended the last episode saying, "I'll try to be better, officer," and Saru saying, "I'm going to try to trust you," and then it just all fell apart again.
Yeah, I'm over her character, and I've got a lot more to say about it once we get to the end, because I think I know what they're trying to do, and I'm going to explain why it's not working.
I see. Well, Burnham and Georgiou then take Book's ship, somehow escape from. They just take off without anybody noticing. And
just like in every other thing, take a shuttlecraft. No one will notice until it's too late.
Exactly.
And Discovery's even worse. They don't even have doors. So, I mean, like, on their shuttle bay, they just can fly out. So it's a lot simpler to escape from a shuttle on Discovery, I guess.
And Georgiou is asking about Burnham's relationship with Book and if it's, similar to Ash Tyler. And so she doesn't.
Oh, yeah. She name dropped your favorite character in all of Star Trek, Aaron. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah. my ears hurt. So
I started bleeding.
So at some point, Georgiou is having these some weird bloody visions of something happening when she was in the Terran universe, and we're not really sure what it is.
I assume, based on dialogue happening later, it's Michael's betrayal, and she killed someone else that was close to Georgiou.
Well, she keeps zoning out, and she keeps kind of like not being there, present in the room, and then when Michael's like, "What's going on?" and she's like, "Nothing's going on," so she won't even admit that anything's happening.
Yeah.
So they get to the planet they're supposed to go to, and this is like a shipyard, but it's like all these old ships.
It's a junkyard. It's a whole planet that's a junkyard for ships.
And we've seen this before, not a planet. We saw that in Next Gen. I forgot what episode it was, but Riker, like, they had a high Enterprise in this junkyard, if you remember, way back in the day.
Oh, yeah, in the space junkyard, yeah.
Yeah, but they did a really good job of this. This really looked great. Visually, fantastic.
God, like, the funny thing is, the guys, they're looking for self-stealing stem bolts, which is like a thing O'Brien... Which is something O'Brien really wanted in that Deep Space Nine episode. I think for the cloaking mines, they're trying to guard the.
And Nog and Jake had all those giant. Had that huge shipment of self-sealing stem bolts.
Yeah, so there's a couple like very strong, and then the very next thing he says after self-sealing stem bolts is his plasma coils, and that just makes me think of the Red Letter Media's like collage of how many times they say plasma coils in Star Trek Generations when they're trying to figure out a harebrained scheme to disable a Klingon bird of prey when they could have just shot it easily out of the sky with a ship that's 100 years newer.
Well, when they show up, they get a hail from Orion, and Georgiou just kind of just like dresses them down immediately and says, "Hey, we have dilithium for sale." So they drop their shields so their ship can get in. And then back on Discovery, Tilly finds Grudge in her quarters and then realizes that Burnham's not on the ship. So she's like, "Okay, so what's going on?" She has
Grudge if she ate Michael.
Yeah, I know.
Grudge is almost big enough to fit Michael inside her.
And apparently Tilly's not a cat person, so
nope.
Unusual. I wouldn't have thought that with Tilly.
Yeah, all right.
So then back on the junkyard planet, Burnham and Georgiou are there with the ships, and this is where they do find Book down there, and they we get a little glimpse where we see this Andorian. Looks like he's kind of serving the emerald chain, and they put like control mechanisms on the back of the worker's neck. So all these people,
instead of exploding collars, it's an explodey like dot on the back of their head.
Yeah, if you go past this like perimeter field, your head just like, basically blows off, and
And
we
then
get
they
to
do it to a Bajoran of all people. It's like the
yeah, we
Bajoran
see
are
this
like
happen. Yeah, to a Bajoran. Yeah,
they're like the shit race of the Star Trek universe. Like everyone always steps on the Bajoran.
I know. So we see this happen, and we see Book there.
I wish it was a Cardassian instead of an Orion, just for the irony.
Yeah, right. Totally. And yeah, so obviously this is like they're all slaves. Somehow they've gotten themselves in trouble, or they owe money to the this person, and
Book's got to change his name to Kunakente.
Oh no. Okay. So anyways, then we jump back on Discovery, and we find that Adira was in engineering, and she makes Stamets
two Jello pods.
Two gel pods. Instead of getting the little stunts stuck in his arm, or shunts stuck in his arm, they has his nano gel that he can put his hands in, and that he can connect with Spore Drive.
His fancy bed is gone. What if that was comfortable?
I like that bed.
That was a good bed.
And then it's still Adira's having conversations with Gray, her boyfriend, and like, why do you just hang out here and work all the time? Why don't we do
like,
other
you
things?
can go play basketball, you can go fencing, all the fun things they did in Next Gen.
And he's like, I don't like to do any of those things. So then we jump back to the junkyard planet, and this is where we find out that the Emerald Chain had taken like this and the Andorian with his antennas cut off. He's the one who's
he tried to mount an insurrection, and instead of murdering
they broke him completely.
Yeah, instead of murdering him, they messed him up, and then now they're making him comply so they don't kill him. So basically, he will die unless he puts these like explodey things in people's necks.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, Michael kind of is acting while down on the planet. Junkyard Planet is acting as Georgiou's sort of like servant, and they're looking for parts. And so she kind of finds Book, and then they're kind of like working together to look for, or pretending to look for parts. So, and this is where Book kind of says, I get off in 45 minutes from being a slave. And
I got union slave break.
I get my coffee break. And this is when he can go get the black box for her then. So, back on Discovery, Tilly basically has to go to Saru and says, well, Michael is not on the ship anymore. And Saru's like, I kind of thought that I could trust her, but I don't think I can.
And Tilly is even tired of Michael's shit, which I actually kind of love. I'm glad everyone's getting tired of her shit, because I've been tired of it for 3 seasons. Yeah,
so Tilly then says that you should tell Admiral Vance, because when you find out that Admiral Vance learns that he from it and not from Saru that Burnham split, that he's going to take it out on
the entire crew, and follow up on his split them up thing.
Right.
And the ship has been revamped so that anyone from the year 3000 or whatever can use the ship now, because it's got all the programmable matter consoles and everything, so people can use it more easily from their time. So, only person who'd have to stay with the ship would be Stamets,
right?
Until they just figure
find
that
a way
out.
to work around that. Yeah. Back on the junkyard planet, Michael and Georgiou are going through the junk stuff, and they start building this weapon, and they destroy this drone that's following them. So, and then all of a sudden the alarms go off, so they're in trouble. But this is where they get the black box device from Book's quarters. So at least they have that. And then Saru reports that what basically happened with Michael, And but basically, they need Discovery to be ready to jump shortly because they might need them. So, and on the Junkyard Planet again, they just start mounting the escape. Here's some back and forth between the Orions, almost getting the upper hand, and then things work out that the
Georgiou has another PTSD moment, I guess. Like this show,
whatever you want to call it,
everyone's got to have a PTSD moment or 16.
And she just kind of like shuts down completely while Michael's like, you got to turn off this perimeter fence so these slaves can run out of here without their heads exploding. And Georgiou's like, no, I think I'll pass out now and watch them all die.
I think I'll just take a nap and relive this bad memory.
Yeah, I know. But she gets through, and they press it so they can start getting through. And this is where
poor Andorian guy gets shot.
Yeah, Andorian guy gets shot, but he does make it, doesn't he?
He does. He survives.
Also, we get a quick thing in the mess hall with Adira and Stamets, and basically, she's like, having a conversation with my old boyfriend Gray. And
Stamets identifies with her, and then he tells Culber about it. Bad.
Yeah, so they have like a nice little time together, and from there they escaped the Junkyard Planet when they retrieve they help a lot of those slaves escape. Why didn't they put them on Bookship? I don't know. They took another
ship. Bookship was really small. I mean, because it
looks pretty big.
I mean. But did you see how many pieces it broke apart into?
It did. It was kind of weird. But it was cool to see them shooting all those guards with their phasers or whatever they were shooting them with.
Like, Trek Yards is completely right. It's basically a really bad-looking Millennium Falcon because they flew it sideways through those really tight buildings. They were shooting things, and it looked really cool. And the ship, did this thing where it split up into, 16,000 different pieces and reconfigured itself to, turn around. And I'm like, ugh. That just seems so unnecessary. You have so many points of failure. That just seems like the least safe space travel ever. I'm not saying
I agree. I don't want my ship breaking into pieces. I'm sorry.
I mean the tri-stage attack ship in Voyager, that was a cool ship. It's split into 3 pieces, but two of the pieces had nacelles. So I mean, they were basically 3 functioning ships glued together, which is fun.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
The trivector attack ship, that was cool. But this is just the one ship breaking apart in little pieces just so it could turn around. It's very weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not a very good looking ship, and especially with all the designs they could be doing. I don't know. It's weird because for everything cool that they do, some of the ships are just kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not even crazy about Discovery. I know it's kind of like a rework of the 1970s Star Trek Phase 2 ship, but it never really did anything for me. Anyway, so they escape from the junkyard world. They save the slaves, and then Michael has to face the music with what she did. But we do get a quick revelation that her and Book start making out. So,
and this is the third time that Linus jumps in
and kind of but finally, geez, man, took long enough for between Michael and Book to finally have this relationship. They've been together for a year, and then we have.
I think they were both lying though, because Michael did say she didn't love here, and she goes, "I meant live" or whatever.
I know, but I think she's sitting on her emotions. She wasn't trying to. I think she hadn't started anything with them yet, but for some reason she didn't want to jump into that relation. Maybe it was because of what happened with Ash Tyler being such a fucking asshole.
Maybe.
So they're go back to Starfleet headquarters. Admiral Vance basically is pretty pissed off at Burnham for her going on this covert mission, the unsanctioned mission, should I say. And he says, but thankfully, you saved lives and you kind of impeded the Emerald Chain, so they're our enemies, so good job there. And this is where Saru says, after that meeting's over, that you're not my first officer anymore, and you'll just be chief science officer.
That's the lamest slap on the wrist ever.
Yeah. Well,
Who will be who will be number one? The girl who used to be Arian?
Georgiou?
Isn't she like an ensign?
I don't know.
I mean, like if they like demoted her like back to ensign and put her in the lower decks, that's a fitting punishment. But if she's lead science officer, she'll still be on the bridge. She'll still act like a first officer. It won't matter.
Well, so she says she's doing the right thing, and when he leaves, Michael takes off her comm badge and holds it in her hand. So I don't know. So Dave, this is the episode Scavengers. What did you think about this episode?
Like I was scared the prison break thing would be dumb. It was actually kind of a lot of fun. You know, I like seeing Orions. It was all the little callbacky things was kind of great.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Like
absolutely.
the TNG phaser and the self-sealing stem bolts and the plasma coils. Like just weird things that just triggered like different like things in my head that, I remember that. And like, and it just different kind of funny emotions that go along with those specific tech items just from Deep Space Nine or TNG
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
It's some great little callbacks. I guess we know now with Georgiou's, she's like reliving some like awful memory.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it seemed like her talk with Section 31 triggered it, but we don't know how. She said weeks it's been happening. We don't know how long it's been since the episode where we first saw it happen, and then. I mean, it could have been the first time. I don't know. I kind of hope they explain that. I hope it's not something bad. I really like Georgiou, and this kind of like I didn't like how they're like making her weak with some kind of weird memory or whatever. Although it does seem like they're using this to like even make Georgiou question the goodness of Michael Burnham, because Tilly questioned it, Saru's questioning it, the Admiral's questioning it, I've been questioning it. I'm really glad to see other people are kind of getting on board with the questioning Michael Burnham.
When you say goodness, what exactly do you mean?
Just that, you know, her trueness of sincerity. Because what specifically what Emperor Georgiou says to her, she's saying, you know, I knew Michael Burnham who looked just as sincere as you did, and she betrayed me. And the thing is, I mean, like, Michael Burnham's always, like, doing the sincere stuff. Oh, Saru, I'll do better. And then she betrays him. Like, this is the next episode. You know, like, they didn't even give, like, an episode where she was trying to be better. Just the very next episode, she just immediately goes back on her word. She is just an untrustworthy person in the show. Even though she always does, like, what's right in the long term, her short-term goals to get there have...
She tried to take shortcuts.
She's taking shortcuts, and it's murky. And for me, like, I don't think she's well written. And I think the reason is, I think they're trying to make her like Kirk. By being like the guy who's bold and brash and takes risks.
Yeah.
But where it fails, utterly, is that she is not the captain. She does not include anyone except for Georgiou in her misadventures or book, and the other time where she, you know, went under their noses. Like, she only trusts the other renegades with the renegade stuff. She doesn't trust her crew. She doesn't trust her friends to come to her aid. She doesn't do anything like Kirk would have done. Even in, like, the most harebrained things, Kirk almost always had at least, you know, Spock and Bones in on it with him. You'd have no one else was in on it. Like, he had, like, and he was also the captain. He had the prerogative to do that. She is a commander. She's not the captain. She voluntarily gave up the captain spot. Like, if she did not give up the captain spot and she started doing the things she was doing, I may not be as harsh on her, but she's not in the position to be making these kind of things. And I think that's what's irking me. They're trying to make her like Kirk without what made Kirk, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's not earned, and that's why I feel like it bothers me with every time she's on screen. It's just getting on my nerves a little bit. And she had all this Vulcan upbringing. Like, she's supposed to be, like, you know, cool and calm, and she's not. She grew up with the Vulcans, and she never heard of a Vulcan hello till she called her father, you know, right when they were in front of the Klingons. It just, all these weird, like, convenient plot things that just happen around her, like, after the fact, just don't make a lot of sense, and they're badly constructed. Like, the Federation, at first, or at least the Earth at first, they had the Vulcans bossing them around in Enterprise, and the Vulcans didn't really share information voluntarily. But they became part of the Federation. Like, the Vulcan hello should have been like, oh yeah, we ran into some Klingons, and we shot them first, and then they stopped bothering us. Like, this should have been brought up at, a council meeting, like, once in the past 100 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, all these weird little things are just, like, weird caveats to make Michael Burnham this, like, roguish character. And it's just really, like, it's written to be convenient, but it just doesn't make any sense, and that's why I'm constantly hammering on the writing being, like, weak, especially around Michael. Does that kind of make sense to you? Like, is it? You see where
I see where you're coming from. I don't fully agree with you, but I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah. What's your take on it?
Well, on the Michael part, I totally agree with the Kirk thing. But Kirk did a lot. Let's just take off the J.J. Abrams reboot, okay? We know he rigged the Kobayashi Maru test, so making him look like we know that he did do that for a fact. We don't know much about Kirk other than a few other things about what happened to him on what was the colony he was on. I can't remember. It's Conscious of a King. I just remember the colony at the moment. But we know he had some adversity there when he was younger. But a lot of the stuff we don't. We know he served on the Farragut. We know that there was some other things that he ran into on the Farragut that was it Wolf in the Fold was where he ran into some past thing from the Farragut when he was like a lieutenant. But
the one where Scotty was Jack the Ripper?
No, maybe it wasn't Wolf in the Fold. It was something similar to that. I can't remember, but it was one of those episodes. But so, well, Kirk did get away with a lot of stuff. Like, Kirk stole the Enterprise and blew it up later. I mean, but that's a pretty big offense.
I'm not saying Kirk didn't do responsible things. I'm saying he as far in visual canon, like, we don't have any visual canon of the Farragut days or beyond mentions.
Right. We just don't know. Yeah.
But from the movies and the TV shows, he did almost nothing by himself. He always included his crew and got their input and, like, they're okay.
I mean, when he stole the Enterprise, he had basically his whole bridge crew steal it with him.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like he's not going rogue by himself. Like, he's convinced other people that he is right and he's doing his own thing. Michael's basically doing them alone with people who aren't associated with the Federation.
Right, and I agree with you there. It's just that So Michael, the issue with Michael is that she keeps on. I mean, she enlisted Georgiou to help her with that, so she wasn't totally alone on this issue. But she's done.
But Georgiou is not part of the Federation.
Yeah, she is. She's part of. Yeah, she's commander rank.
I mean, it was a masquerade thing. I mean, I don't think she's not really Federation. It was like a masquerade because
I agree. I mean, I don't know why they even gave her that, but that was another weird thing with writing. But technically, she's still.
I don't think they haven't acknowledged it since the
they
time
said commander before, so they called her commander before. So, anyways, I guess my issue with her is that she does try to take on everything on her own, and she tries to she sees people as impediments instead of working with the people. Like even Saru, I mean. She's known Saru since the very beginning of the series. So I mean, she's served with him on the Shinzo, and why can't she trust? I mean, they have all these heart wrenching moments together, and yet they can't seem to come to agreement where I trust you, Michael, that you do the right thing. So
or confide in each other.
I really need to do this, and I don't know. So I think here's the thing: is after the first episode of season 3, and then she's off with Book for that year, you can tell that she's lighter and she's happier. And then now she's back into it, and she's just not. She does not want to take orders, and it could just be maybe she's not really cut out for Starfleet, or this is not her thing, But, and that's okay too. You could just be we could do a whole nother thing of her doing her own thing. I think it's what they kind of allude to next episode, that they're gonna, she's gonna leave and do her own thing for a bit. Well, I don't know how that'll work out, but
yeah, it seemed weird in the preview. I wasn't sure. It looks like they're seeing some Vulcans. I'm just like, well, I don't know what's.
but it looked like she was leaving, basically. So I don't know. I. There's lots of things I actually like about the Michael Burnham character. There's lots of things I just think they keep writing her into this like, I keep fucking things up kind of thing. It's like, why are you writing her this way? I mean, this is the way they're choosing to write her. And it's really bizarre to me. Like, every time she makes an action, she gets in trouble for it. Where in the original series, like Kirk would do something, or even like go next gen, Picard would do something against, but then he'd find a way to rectify it and not be looked at as some pariah.
Yeah.
I don't understand the writing on this on these shows. I mean, I don't know why they're doing these things. I don't know why they're treating her character like so awful and always like beat down.
I don't know either. And it's just tiring to see the same thing. Like her character isn't changing at all, even though she was supposedly raised Vulcan. And like if she was supposed to join the Vulcan science, explosion thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Vulcan science ships. Like instead of joining Federation, she was going to be joining that science. The Vulcan science ships, and like that would have been even more strict than Federation because Vulcans are so Vulcan. It also, like, yeah, she's had a year of freedom, but she was raised Vulcan, super strict, and then she was, like, in the Federation, strict, but not as strict as being Vulcan. And then, like, all of that, all of her life, and she's, like, she said 1 year of freedom, and then she's, like, lost everything that kind of made her her.
But see, part of me thinks, like, we see her in the very beginning, and she's kind of, like, stunted. She's taking on the whole Vulcan persona when we first meet her, when she first comes to the Shinzu, and then she starts breaking out of that. She becomes more, I think she's reclaiming herself from the Vulcan culture. She's like deciding who she wants to be because she can now be that person who, a human basically. But it's not even it for me. It's just like, and the other thing is that really pisses me off more than anything is that none of the characters are rising to become better. They're kind of just always like in this like quagmire of like problems. And, obviously you want to give the characters something to work against and be challenged. But like Saru never, like maybe Saru's made the most growth out of anybody. We're seeing him slowly grow to become more confident and not that afraid thing, Kelpian that we knew.
Yeah.
But he still kind of like second guesses himself and is a little timid. Tilly is getting a little better, but not much better. I mean, at least Stamets is reaching out to Adira now. I don't know. It's weird to me. It's something about the crew just doesn't like pop to me. There's some great characters.
Everyone's stunted because Michael Burnham is like 80% of the screen time, and you've got to divide up like 20 other characters.
I know it's frustrating. It's frustrating that she's always like, no, I'll steal the show and take all, be basically the action hog for everything, and yeah, would Kirk do the same thing? Yes, I know he probably would, but since TOS...
At least it was, it was Kirk, Spock, and McCoy always having harebrained schemes together or, like, working through stuff together. That was interesting, but it's just Michael. She saves it every single time. I mean, Spock, was the unsung hero of TOS. I mean,
oh, man, if Kirk didn't have Spock, he would have been dead 100 times over.
Yeah, Kirk would have been screwed. Like, Kirk wasn't, like, this big old hero. Like, he would have died so many times without Spock and McCoy. But Michael does everything by herself. Pretty much,
yeah.
And it's just, like, with very little support, and it's just like she comes up with everything and she fixes everything. It's just like it's tiring. Why even have the crew? Why doesn't she have her own ship by herself? And that's what started to make me think this episode feels more like a Section 31 thing. like where she's doing her own co-op missions. And like if this was a Section 31 show, this would be more what I'd be expecting. But this is supposed to be Star Trek Discovery. It's supposed to be about the ship Discovery and its crew, and like we're following Michael around doing all this other stuff, and like we're barely on Discovery, it feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just like disappointing, and I miss the ensemble. And
actually, in a lot of ways, this episode itself kind of encapsulated all Discovery. Michael goes off, saves the day, while Discovery and its crew kind of like sits in dock waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
Although, but you know, the caveat that I actually enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this episode too. Like, it's really bizarre, but it was a lot of like dumb fun. It was like a James Bondy action thing. It was just a fun romp, and sometimes that's all you need. And they're still pushing forward to their goal of figuring out the burn. But I'm very perplexed on how they're writing Michael. It just, a lot of things don't make a lot of sense to me. And beyond the writing of Michael, the writing of the story as a whole doesn't make a lot of sense. Because we've just now in episode 6 introduced the black box conundrum. We got to find the black box to find out what happened.
A MacGuffin to go chasing after.
Okay, but what about, like, she even said in the episode she's been to lots of ship graveyards. I'm like, why didn't you get any of those black boxes?
She said they were kind of rare at that point. So I mean,
but why didn't the Federation like investigate the burn, like as it happened? Like, wouldn't they have like tried to like scour through the remains to find anything? Like, it just. Why no one tried to figure this out when it was contemporary makes no sense.
Maybe they couldn't aggregate and all the information together. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of questions there, but
yeah, and also this is nitpicky, but I mean, black boxes are orange.
All right. Well, this black box was literally the size of a pen, so
and it was black.
Yeah. I don't know. This episode was okay. I enjoyed it.
It was a lot of dumb fun, and that's fine, because I mean that's better than like the senseless melodrama and like weird things they did last episode where they just send off Nan for like no reason.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just weird. I mean, it just like last episode was just like getting some, it was like a speed bump. This episode was a diversion. Like, I don't even think it was a speed. It was just like a diversion, and it was like a fun, action-filled diversion.
Right.
And
right.
Like spectacular when Georgiou shoots that ship down and it crashes on like the place. She's hoping to kill that Orion guy that annoyed her so much. And it said, I mean, that was just a fantastic effect. It just falling out of the sky and just crumbling, and it was like, it looked amazing.
No, it looked great. Yeah.
I mean, this is like movie caliber looking show, and it's just it can be great at times. In the last episode, we were like so down. I mean, we were kind of down on this, but it's mostly just because the way they handle Michael Burnham. She could be.
We're not down on this episode. We're down on just the writing and how they keep on putting her in these like impossible situations, and then it doesn't work out for her.
With no support structure. I mean, like, if she was Kirk and going in with a core crew from Starfleet doing stuff, like, if they were like I don't know, what was it, Alpha Team, or the Federation kids that like were like super roguelike, but there was a bunch of Federation kids all working together for like the same goal. Yeah, maybe they weren't like super good and they kind of got all died, but
they all died. Yeah.
But like they were working together as a team. Like,
right.
And Michael's doing everything solo, and that's just what bothers me so much. I miss the collaboration between other people in Starfleet, like making the show. You're not the show. I mean, and Michael's always like, "Oh, we gotta rebuild the Federation, and make it whole, and all this stuff like that." But then she also does all the stuff that breaks Federation rules. It's just like, I don't like how she's such an inconsistent character. Where like, she says one thing and does something different. You know what I mean?
Well, I think she believes in the Federation. She just doesn't. I don't think she fits well in the structure. It's like you can believe in something, or you can like support something and know that maybe not be the best lifestyle for you. I don't know why she hasn't come to that realization that she would work better on the outside boundaries. At least that's how they're writing her. I mean, she just.
It's like, do as I say, not as I do, and it's really annoying. I don't like that inconsistency.
And the thing is, like, if you talk about any of the other, like captains or even commanders for that matter in any Star Trek history, nobody's been that insubordinate. I mean, even you could say Kirk, but Kirk had a sense of duty all the time, like that he had to do certain things. He just, I mean, you could always point to him stealing the Enterprise, but that was sort of like, saving your best friend if you know your best friend could be still alive, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that was probably
how far he would go for his friend. Yeah,
and that was probably the most far out thing he's ever done. And still,
Spock did it before, anyways. So yeah. Spock stole the Enterprise in the Menagerie. So
yeah, and I mean, like, it's just like Michael's just a mutineer over and over and over again, kind of, and I'm just kind of getting tired of it. Like, I wonder to grow, Yeah. I don't know. I just and the thing is, Discovery hasn't kept a captain more than one season, so I'm pretty sure Saru's going to die this season.
Oh, jeez, I hope not.
I mean, it's just we had Lorca season 1, he died. We had Captain Pike season 2, that was a special case. Michael declined becoming captain because she knows that's a doomed seed for this show. So I mean, like, I mean, I've got no other than just like a crackpot theory. I assume Saru will die. She'll be the ranking officer on the thing, and she'll have to take a field promotion just to become captain because they'll need someone to rally behind. Like, I feel like that's just kind of like what's in the cards for Saru, based on how Discovery's been treating its captains, because they haven't had a single captain more than one season. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, maybe Saru will stay captain and Michael will be floundering in whatever she does. I don't know. But I just have a feeling that now Saru's going to die. And Saru's becoming a lot more likable to me now that he's, like, putting aside his feelings for Michael. Because I feel like that's what made him so weak beyond his, like, his fear-sensing Kelpianness. He said so in this episode. He's like, I just wanted normal. I just wanted us to be on our rank structure like we had been. And that was on me for wanting that. Yeah. So I'm glad he's understanding his feelings got in the way and that he's trying to act as a better person, a better captain. Like, Saru's starting to grow on me a lot more than he had. So I'm glad he's taking steps to become a better person and, like, think better.
I don't know. There's just a lot, honestly, that this, it's what's frustrating about this Discovery for me. It's like, it's so close to greatness, and then they write some of their characters and their plots into these, like, weird, like, places they didn't need to go there. Like, they could have. They're not being, like, daring. They're just being kind of, like, short-sighted.
I just feel like their primary goal is just hitting, like, these diversity check marks. Like, I don't know. They were just so proud that they said the first episode of this season was the first Star Trek episode to be directed by a black person who had 2 black people in the same scene. I'm like, did you not see Far Beyond the Stars, Deep Space Nine, where Avery Brooks directed it? I'm sure he's directed other episodes too, but he directed it. He and Cassidy Yates and Sierra Lofton and Michael Dorn all shared scenes together.
I know.
I just don't like. The show keeps, like, saying, "Oh, we did this first. We did this first. We did this, and we did this." I'm like, you're not even, like, looking at history. Like, so if they're saying stuff like this, they're not even. If they don't know just the basic facts about what happened in real life, what do they know about Star Trek as canon as a whole? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Like the nitpicky in Deep Space, if they don't know just basic facts about the directing and, like, just the basic history in the show, you can find out on Memory Alpha. It doesn't instill me with a lot of, like, hope that they can write. And, like, there's been nothing like Far Beyond the Stars and this new Star Trek. Nothing that's made me think.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, no, I know, but I mean, like, even like Adira's character. I mean, there's what are she's supposed to be, like, gender?
She's the actress. Calls themselves as non-binary, so she, like, I guess that means she likes to go as they them, but they're still calling her she on the show. Right. She's got a boyfriend. Her boyfriend is technically a transgender, transgendered person, and I mean, that's fine. But I mean, like, I don't understand, like, I mean, it's great that there's that representation, but they're not using the representation in the show. So, I don't. It's just a girl with a short haircut. I don't.
Yeah, and somebody was saying like there's like and it was the issue with Culber when Culber died. It was the trope of bury your gays, basically introduce a gay character and then have the gay character killed. So and that's like here they have this gray character introduced and then
killed immediately. Well, killed in the background.
Yes, it lives on through. Yeah, lives on through the Trill symbiont, but still, it's like it's a little hard. I don't know.
I just feel like the show's too busy hitting check marks for diversity things, even though it's not really using them, and forgetting to tell good science fiction / Star Trek-y like stories that make you think and question things. Like that's the big problem for me with Discovery and Picard as a whole. They're not asking the big questions. They're not making me like be retrospective about myself and how I think about things like other Star Trek things did. Like Far Beyond the Stars is one of the most powerful episodes of Star Trek, period. And I mean, nothing has come close since.
Well,
and we've had Enterprise and Discovery.
I think there's been plenty of like between from the original series to Next Gen, Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, and there's
I'm sure I'm just not thinking, but I'm sure there's even one for Enterprise if I really wanted to think about it. Maybe not as heavy, but
yeah, I'm sure there's some stuff that I can't think of anything. It's been a long time since I've watched Enterprise all the way through. I'm sure there's something like good and like thought provoking and like gets you in the feels, but like
not even the feels, but just makes you think. Like what was the duet with on Deep Space Nine?
Yeah, duet was super powerful
episode, and I just don't feel like we're hitting those like high marks right now. I just feel like it's always just like, here's an adventure and it's out in space and we have diversity, and it's like, yeah, we had all those before. We had diversity, we had adventures in space, except it also had stories that made you like sit back and go like, man, that's a crazy story, or man, it made me think about the episode like afterwards. And I don't know, it's just like I said, I think they write themselves into these, I don't even know what to call it. They write themselves into these boxes, and there's no sense of what they do sometimes. It frustrates me because it's like, I know these people are getting paid good money, and there's lots of writers in the room. I just don't know what's happening here.
Have you seen what they left behind, the DS9 documentary?
I have not seen that. I actually saw it.
You can watch it free
on YouTube.
On YouTube, I watched it the other night. It brought me to tears. It gave me chills. I have to watch Deep Space Nine again. Like they did this part with like the writers' room, and they were just pitching this episode of what a season 8 of season 1 or episode 1 of season 8 of Deep Space Nine would be like, and they just sped it ahead 20 years because all the actors are 20 years older, and it's a great thing. It's exciting, and they come up with this really cool story, and then it's like, to be continued, and it's like, oh crap, and it's just like, we're never gonna see what would come out of that, and it was just. You had Ronald D. Moore, and you had Ira Stephen Bear. I mean, like, just to get any one of these guys in the writer's room for Discovery, and I think, like, the show could be so much better. Just getting any one of these guys. I just wish they could get them all in there. Like, just let them work on the new Star Trek shows. Like, I don't know. These guys know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And anyone out there who has not seen What We Left Behind, the Deep Space Nine documentary, it's, like I said, it's free on YouTube. Watch it. It is, if you're a Deep Space Nine fan, it is absolutely amazing. It's a great watch. Do it. I saw that it was, and I definitely have to get. There's lots of ads in it. Lots of ads because but it's such a good doc, and I just like I said, like that thing gave me feels. Like I cried. Like watching that, and it's even harder to watch now that Renee Auberjonois and Aaron Eisenberg have passed. They've passed since the making of this documentary. The documentary is only like 2 years old, so we've lost two of the the DS9 actors, and it's definitely heartbreaking kind of watching that a little bit on top of just the emotion of the show. And I just really want to watch Deep Space Nine again. Deep Space Nine was it's I've said it over and over on this podcast that it is by far my favorite Star Trek show, and just watching this makes me want to watch Deep Space Nine all over again.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just so good, and this show, this documentary gave me feels, and I've never felt anything other than annoyance with Discovery. And when I feel something, otherwise it's just like, oh, it's just a fun romp, and that was fun, but I don't really feel anything other than that was all right. Like nothing really hit me hard.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I keep waiting for something to break free, but maybe I'm just never going to feel this way for Discovery. And some people just love Discovery, and I'm sorry, I just can't connect on it. I mean, I don't really hate Discovery. Like, I like this episode, and I like a lot of characters, but the characters I like
that are good.
The characters I like don't get enough screen time. I love Tilly. I love Reno. I would love to see more of them, but I just never do. So
I mean, I like Adira, but I mean, I'm scared they're not going to.
I actually like Adira, and I even kind of like Gray. I mean, I kind of weird having an imaginary boyfriend, but
it's just
I know he's not imaginary, but
it's just like everyone at Buffalo has got that. That's the quote unquote Canadian girlfriend.
Yeah, right, the Canadian girl.
Yeah, the Canadian girlfriend, the imaginary Canadian girlfriend.
It's just that you'd like to see more of it, and it's like, but we get these like long, big stories with Michael, and it's just like, and they don't get their chance to shine. We just get windows, real quick,
small little snippets of all these other great characters that they just do nothing with. And it's just sad.
Well, let's wrap it up, Dave. We'll have to wonder what else they're going to do, but it does look like they're going to do something different. It does look like Michael might be leaving Discovery, so from the previous, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But I mean, if she does, we'll just be following her, probably, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. We'll be like, Discovery's out in space somewhere. Guys, did you agree with us? Do you think that Michael should yield more time for more of the crew on the Discovery and get them a chance to have some more screen time, or are we missing something that we're not seeing? Let us know. Hit us up on our email. Our email is synthaholics@yahoo.com. You can also talk to us on our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Synthaholics. We'd love to hear from you there. And also you can just talk to us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is Synthaholic Duo. And if the show is something you'd like to support, please go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Synthaholics, and you can support us there. All right, Dave. Until next week.
The spice must
go
all of your head, neck, and chest.
No. Live long and prosper, one and all.
Well, McCoy, my boy, come mix me a drink. Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink, and we'll cry till we laugh, and we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend I ever had.
All right.
Oh, right here. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad that we kind of ragged a lot on it because, the show still has the same problems, even though the episode was definitely more enjoyable.
Oh, I liked it. I liked the episode.
Like I said, the even number one. So I'm kind of dreading next week. Is the show going to keep up the odd numbers being terrible and the even numbers being good?
We'll have to see, right?
Oh, no, it's only 13 episodes. That means the last episode will suck.
Last episode's
No. I don't know. What do you think about the even and odd number things? Have you enjoyed the odd number or the even numbered ones better? In
I like the first one. I like the first episode when Michael came through the portal. I thought that was fun. When she first met Book.
Yeah.
That was good. I like the second one. Which one was the third one? I don't remember.
People of Earth.
Oh, that was kind of lame.
I hated that so much.
Yeah.
It was just dumb. It was just like really, you can't speak to people inside, your own solar system, but that guy in that broken down Starfleet, thing can speak with people a year's worth of warp away.
I know.
Really? Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know.
In a bad way.
In a bad way. Yeah, no, I didn't hate all of them. Let's see. Yeah, people are listening. Forget Me Not was cool. I liked it. Die Trying.
So forgetful.
Yeah, and a lot of people went crazy over that because they saw like a Voyager version and stuff like that. I'm like, who cares? Like, it's not the Voyager we knew, so why do we care?
And it's not like we're gonna see more of them this season, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Set dressing, and it was just a closer version of like, all those ships we saw blow up. It was just like six. It was like just like 4 or 5 designs. They just like copy pasted all over the screen and blew them up, and all of those are the same designs as what we saw inside of Starfleet.
I'm sure. I didn't really break it down, but I don't know. I'm just, I wasn't crazy about going that far in the future, anyways.
Yeah.
But at least they can't mess up canon too bad, right?
I guess. Except for that, they ruined time travel. I mean, like, really, like the.
You've ruined time travel, guys.
Well, I mean, it's just like, we've got all these, like, we got these time police, we got the, the relativity, and they abducted 7 of 9 to do all these, like, covert time ops. And you're telling me that, like, we've made time travel illegal, like, around the same time as the burn happens, and now we can't undo it? Well, that's convenient. So we're just going to leave the galaxy a shithole because, time travel's bad.
Time travel bad.
How is time travel worse than the burn? Like, can't we just go back and fix that? I don't know. Like, it just makes me mad that they, like, bypassed all, like, the really cool, like, time travel-y stuff. You could do a lot of cool stories with time travel. And they have done a lot of cool stories with time travel in Star Trek. And now we're in an era of Star Trek where it's illegal.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see more. I bet you time travel will come back. It's just right now they're angry because of the temporal Cold War.
Yeah, they haven't even brought that up, so I'm scared they're not even going to go into the temporal Cold War.
It is a little weird they haven't brought that up.
Like, we're halfway through. That hasn't come up yet.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. Like last week's episode, I was like, they're just going to forget about the burn. And then this episode was all about the burn. I was like, finally.
Yeah, I know.
It's just kind of like, I don't know. This is just bizarre.
Yeah, I think season 3 is, the burn thing, I think it's going to be like, oh, that was it, and it's going to be kind of forgettable.
I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be like a ho-hum thing, because they're probably not going to tie it into anything cool like the temporal Cold War. Or...
Well, not just that, there's probably just going to be like...
Michael caused it using the Red Angel suit. Like she farted during the time travel sequence, and it made the suit emit some graviton wave, and the graviton wave made the noise of the song that everyone knows, but it also created the burn.
I know. When you sing this song,
it's just a fart I did once, and the sound of the fart rippled through space time, and it made this this sad lullaby. It also destroyed all the spaceships. Because the fart was that bad.
It was so bad it killed everybody.
Yes. And, it's called The Burn. And, Michael's name is Burnham. And I'm like, I'm just scared they're going to be that dumb.
I don't know. I hope... I don't know. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah, I know. It's scary. I just want Star Trek to be good. I just want to feel something, like some heady emotion. I want to have some in-depth thought about the concepts they're bringing up, and they're just
just not there.
Not even trying.
Yeah, I know.
It's like we could see an attempt and they're trying to do this, but they're not even trying. They're just trying to write pseudo serialized television.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even like heavily serialized anymore. They're still following that season 2 thing where like let's make each episode its own thing, but this would be like a light through line.
I don't know, man. It's just not all there. It's just like, for as amazing as it looks and as good as the acting is, like, the stories are just never quite there.
Like give us 2 years in between this season and season 4. Let's let them get there. I feel like they just like rush the writing aspect of it, and they don't spend nearly enough time on it. I mean, it's just like I just kind of think that's where we're at. I think they've already supposedly started shooting season 4 of Discovery. I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, why are they already shooting? Like, spend some time in the writer's room. A little bit more time, please.
Spend some time in the writer's room, people. Stop just going out for drinks.
Yeah, I guess. Stop spreading the COVID.
I know, right? I don't get it, but I mean, whatever, man.
Yeah, I hope the show gets better. I mean, this was definitely a promising episode, so hopefully